Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be reviewing MXGP 2021. In today's review I'm going to be taking a look at the gameplay, the graphics, the modes and game modes that you can play within MXGP 2021, and my final verdict on how I particularly feel about this game. But before we get into it, quick shout out to a good friend of mine, Antonio Barber, for gifting me a copy of this game. Without you, this video would not be possible. Anyway, let's crack on with the review. So just to get a little bit of details out of the way with, I am playing on PC. I have a RTX 2080 Super, a Ryzen 7 3700X, 3600MHz or 32GB RAM, and a Samsung 980 EVO for the SSD. Now I think it's important to mention that because of course my experience with my computer may differ to your computer or console, so I just wanted to clarify that so I can give you the best explanation on what I'm feeling and what I'm using within MXGP 2021. So let's crack on with the review, and first things first, let's have a look at the visuals. The graphics of this game look very, very good. I do feel that the MXGP series and majority of Milestone games do look very, very good. And with my PC specs as mentioned just prior, the game ran flawlessly from QHD to 144 frames per second to even 4K at 60 frames per second. Now this is just a little brief intro to this particular part of the review. If you've seen a DrAce review before, you know that we're going to show a little bit of gameplay. We're going to give you a little bit of a teaser of what's going to come, and of course we're going to crack on with the actual features of this game. So in this game, MXGP 2021, there's quite a bit to offer, so I think we're going to finish this lap and we're going to crack on with the full review of MXGP 2021. So upon launching the game, you will be greeted with this intro page of the last rider you used. For me, I did use Rene Hoffer the last time out, because of course, very special rider who unfortunately won't be with us anymore after losing his life just recently. But I'm going to take a look at all the riders, and you are going to notice even some of the big names such as Tim Geiser, Brian Boges, and even a couple of riders, some from MX2 as well, don't actually have their officially licensed helmets, so it's probably some sort of licensing issue that is yet to be fixed. I'm pretty certain, I'm pretty confident that Milestone will rectify this in a future patch. When, I'm not entirely sure, but as you can see on screen, I'm just flicking through all of the MXGP riders and now looking at the MX2 riders, and you can see there is a lot of riders in this game. There is a lot of bikes, and it includes pretty much everyone who featured in MXGP in real life this season, so attention to detail for MXGP, pretty good so far. So let's have a quick look at the tracks, and let me tell you, there is a little bit of bad news here. We are missing a couple of tracks from the real season. However, MXGP 2021 will have these tracks eventually in a future update. When that update comes, I'm not entirely sure, but we did experience something very similar to this in last year's game, so it's kind of expected at this point. But 4 legacy tracks such as Agueda, Ine, Ottabiano and Leon, great tracks, very positive and very pleased to have them in. Once we get the full amount of tracks, I'll be a little bit more happier. Of course, you can jump on and use the track editor and just join other people's tracks as well. You have the compound, plenty of tracks to go from, and of course there are some very talented riders and players out there who can make pretty pucker tracks. It's far better than I can do, and let me tell you, it's not my forte under any circumstance. These guys are very talented and very creative with their tracks. But let's take a look at the track editor. You do have 4 choices of tracks to build upon from the Apple Orchard, plain normal track, woods and a quarry. But I will show you my little bit of a creation so far with my interesting layout of a track so far. But now unfortunately I do have a little bit of a niggling gripe with this track editor. First and foremost, it's a very fiddly track editor. It was very much like the Hot Wheels one that Milestone made. It was just awkward to use. I do feel you can get very good at it and very quick at it if you spend more time with it, but unfortunately for me I didn't really enjoy my experience because I had a bit of a bug, and this bug could not be worked around. I couldn't do anything with this track that I've just made here. I couldn't complete it. It would not let me complete the track in the sense of validating it to confirm that this track would be suitable. And what I mean by that is this final piece that you're looking at screen right now just would not fit. I tried every style of piece, but it would not go into it, and it would not let me validate the particular track. Now I have spoken to a contact within Milestone, and they are pretty much looking into it already. Sent them my track data file, so I'm very happy with the response from Milestone and the way the team take care of the fans and respond to the complaints and issues of the game. Now I was able to validate some tracks, such as this little tiny little oval piece that I'd made just to test whether you could even validate it for the purpose of the video. I was able to do so, but that was the only one that allowed me to validate it. And if you do manage to get to this stage and your track's awesome, then thumbs up to you. So if you're like me and you can't muster up a decent track, come over here to the career mode, because this is pretty much where I spend all of my time, and I would highly recommend that you do as well. So this is the career mode interface. You can check out your contract, your challenges, you can customize the bike, and even your number and helmets and accessories, which I will be showing you with further detail later on. So basically the way it works with the career mode is you can choose which team you want to ride for, depending you have the requirements, so if you've got the necessary level, and of course if you want to buy your own bike and you want to improve it from the ground up, you're going to need a sponsor. Now the sponsor will help you get more credits, so then you can buy better gear, better components for the bike, and just upgrades in general for your KTM, Yamaha, Suzuki, or whatever particular bike you decided to use. Now I will have to keep this particular part brief because I don't want to spoil my career mode so far within MXGP 2021. However, there is a brand new challenge mode in this installment of MXGP, which is very good, but I can't show you much of it because unfortunately it will spoil the results for my series. But I will show you another thing, which is called the career duel. In the season you will get yourselves rivals and challengers who want to battle you for the championship, and they will challenge you to a particular duel. Now that could be here in the compound, or it could be in legacy tracks. My very first one was actually in a legacy track of Ernay. Fantastic race I had with Ruben Fernandez, who pushed me right to the very end. Very difficult track, and it was very exciting to just jump in and have a bit of a duel. Now I do believe you earn some credits, but other than that there's not really much point to it. So if you don't really want to do the duels and you just want to do the races, you certainly don't have to. I did 1 or 2 of them, and I think I'll probably do around 3 just to get the achievement, but I don't think I'll bother for the rest of them because I don't really need the extra credits and I'm not particularly desperate for them, so probably not do them. But I do like the feature and I do like the idea of it. It does seem to be just one-on-ones for now. I haven't seen any other sort of duel in the sense of maybe you do a time trial where one of you does one lap and then the other does the other. Not quite any of that yet, but what I have seen so far, the duel's a good idea. Not probably going to do all of them, but I'll probably chuck in a couple along the way. Now I will tell you that MXGP 2021's career mode is a little bit bare bones in the sense of what you see is what you get. It's racing and nothing but. For me, it's perfect. I'm really not a fan of all these cringy stories you get in sports games. As far as I'm concerned, it's perfect. But there you go, the duel has been complete. We beat Ruben Fernandez, not by much, but we managed to get the job done, and that is all that matters. We've earned some extra credits and we've also earned bragging rights against Ruben Fernandez. But that is it pretty much from career mode. I've still got a little bit more to cover, but we'll discuss it after the next part, which is going to be the compound. So let's take a look at the compound, and you'll know what the compound is if you've played an MXGP game before, but if you haven't, it's basically the game's free roam playground, if you will. This is an area for you just to take control of the bike and just go wherever you like. You have a absolutely massive area within this game just to play around in. It's brilliant. This is a place in Wales, of course, that they've just created, and it looks fantastic. There's lots to do here. There's lots of big jumps, small jumps, tight sections, little closed areas as well. You can go around a quarry. You can go through the forest, you can go into some of the tighter areas of the woodlands, and of course even compete in things such as what I'm doing right now, which is a waypoint race. All sorts of stuff to do in the playground, which is going to keep you entertained for a long time. For me, I really like this little forest area of just jumping in here and sort of going around the track as if I was Tony Bow doing some trials. Not exactly the same, but I did rather enjoy just chucking it around in the dirt and having a bit of fun. It was quite an experience just to throw it around in some of the deeper sections and get a feeling for the bike at the slower movements. It helps me with the control. But the compound is just what it is. It's just a playground just for you to just do whatever you like in. If you want to just go for a ride round and not really have an objective, that's absolutely fine. If you want to try and find the biggest jump you could possibly find and give it a massive leap, go ahead and do it. It's entirely up to you. The compound is a fantastic addition for MXGP. Last year's was absolutely amazing. This year's is pretty good, but I did have a very special place in my heart for the last one in last year's installment. I need to spend a bit more time with the compound here. I'll have a video done very soon for you, so if you do want to see a more full, in-depth look at the compound, be sure to hit the subscribe button because I'll be doing that compound video very, very soon. So now I've shown you all of the game modes, let's jump into the most important part of MXGP 2021, and that is how do the bikes handle, how do they feel? Let me tell you, the bikes feel fantastic. In my opinion, this could possibly be the best MXGP game we've had for years. It could quite possibly be the best MXGP game I've played. The difficulty level in this game is much harder than the previous games. For me, Excellent, I love that. I love a challenge. I want it to be really tough to the point where I am working overtime to make sure I'm improving. I get some casual players out there are going to say the absolute opposite, but for me, I am loving MXGP 2021. The bikes feel heavier, the bikes feel more realistic. It feels like a simulation game with arcade elements. Now, I think that's a great combination. It works for Ride 4 and it works for MotoGP 21, so why not work here? People are going to disagree with me on that one, and people will agree. It's just the nature of the games that we play. It's very subjective, but I do feel that the bikes in MXGP 2021 feel fantastic and have done probably the best since MXGP 19, maybe MXGP 3. I'm very impressed with this game so far. Now, there is a bit of a difficulty spike because it is hard. It is much harder than last year's game, and it's much harder than the previous installments as well. For me, the biggest thing that I've noticed is the getting into the ruts is a lot more harder because you want to put your rider weight into the corner and you want to lean, but if you do so and it's a very tight corner, you can just chuck the bike straight onto the floor, or you might even spin the bike round by pushing too much on one side. That's quite brutal, but it is quite realistic. If you're pushing too hard in a corner and you're then pushing the rider weight even further and there's no rut to really stick to, you are going to crash the bike, so it does make sense. There is a bit of a learning curve to get used to. I'm still learning it as well. The right analog stick is a very gentle button now. It's a very gentle movement. You can't be just leaning on it like you could do on the previous games. But all in all, with a little bit of a learning spike, you can actually play this game with some serious confidence and really enjoy the experience. I have found majority of the time I do play within helmet cam. Last year's game and the year before, the helmet cam has always been a bit more superior. The third person perspective has looked a little bit janky here and there. It has been improved in 21 and this year's installment. I do like it. I just prefer to use helmet cam. I do feel that the experience is heightened and more appreciated within helmet cam. I can't say the same for every bike game, but for dirt bike games I definitely feel that the helmet cam is just that little bit more better and a little bit more special. Now, I do have a little bit of a nitpick that kind of grinds my gears a little bit, but I just wish we could have tear-offs like we do in Monster Energy Supercross 4 here in MXGP 2021. It's a very small feature, I'm sure, but I'm not a coder or editor, so maybe it isn't, but I would like to believe that we could get that in this game at some point. I would really appreciate it, because it's just a little fine detail that helps quite a lot, especially in the rainy conditions and some of the more heavier, dirtier tracks that really fill the visor up. Just gives a little bit more immersion for the player. But as far as the bikes go, I really love the way they feel. I really like them, and this is why I've saved it for the end, because I want to talk a lot about the bikes. There's been a lot of discussions regarding the ruts and how you can't stay within them. It's true to some degree, the ruts are very difficult and some of the berms are easy to fall out of. However, I did find as long as you get the perfect amount of speed and the correct lean angle and you're pushing the rider weight to a correct amount, you can get the ruts and the berms without any issue. It's just a little bit more difficult compared to previous games. Now, another thing I will mention as well, I did say earlier about how the game is harder. It isn't just the bikes that are also harder. The AI in this game are pretty ridiculous sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you. The AI may need a tweak for some of the non-experienced players. Even for myself, who have played MXGP games for probably a decade now, or almost near a decade, I think they've been going that long. I really do struggle sometimes against some of the opponents in this one, especially in the wet. Last year in MXGP 2020, the riders in the wet weren't as good, and I was better. And then this year's had a bit of a change around. It's a little bit difficult, and unfortunately we still have the bug where there's just too much rain. Variable settings doesn't always mean it has to rain. It just means that there's a chance of precipitation, but unfortunately we still have that little bit of a bug where we just get too much rain. It is a little nitpick as well, but honestly, the two things there could probably do with tweaking, and that is definitely the fact that the AI need a little bit of a come down to earth again, because even in practice sessions, even in the live stream I did a few days ago, I was 4 seconds behind, and I'm no slouch, I'm pretty good at this game. But for some reason the AI just wanted to absolutely kick my backside on that one. So that's pretty much it for gameplay. Let's move on now to looking at the actual details of the bikes and looking at the details of the rider. So as you can see, the accessories and the clothing look really good in MXGP 2021. Now this is taken within photo mode within the replay mode from the beginning of the race. And as you can see, the graphics and the attention to detail do look really good, very clean looking, very bright and colourful, how MXGP usually is. And then of course when the races have been long and dirty and muddy, the riders, the bikes, their helmets, their gloves all get caked in mud. You can see Glenn Coldenhoff in the background there, absolutely covered in dirt as the dust cloud gets kicked up in his face. Gotta say, love the photo mode in MXGP, love the graphics, and I could sit here just going slowly around with the replay mode all night long. But unfortunately, I don't have much time left because it's pretty much it at the end of my review. So I'm going to just show you a little bit of gameplay from the third person perspective with Jorge Prado right here into Schenthal. And I just want to say, thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed my review of MXGP 2021. Still got a bit more to cover in the sense of gameplay and videos, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so I can show you way more MXGP 2021 content. But honestly, I do believe I've showed you everything you need to know and to help you make your mind up whether this game is going to be worth it for your Steam library, Xbox library, or even PlayStation. Another little niggle that I've just remembered to actually mention, and that this game has no, count it, 0 physical copies, and honestly that really upsets me, it really does. But if you're not bothered about that and you're a fan of just digital games, then I guess you don't have anything to worry about. So upon that note, thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope this review has helped you. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments section down below. Hit the like button and also consider subscribing as well. Do a lot more MXGP content and a lot more reviews coming your way very, very soon. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.